Hello and welcome to Saved Not Scammed, where we expose manipulation, uplift the truth, and where we always remember Jesus didn't need an upline, so neither do we. My name is Kayla, and I am a self-proclaimed baby Christian, meaning that I am not going to be preaching to you, okay? I don't care if you're Christian, if you're not Christian, not my prerogative. I watched for over a decade anti-MLM content, and in that content, I saw MLM Huns using the name of the big old God as a means, as a tactic to recruit individuals onto their team. But the fact of the matter is that MLMs have a 99% failure rate. The entire structure of MLMs, the business structure itself, is designed for the bottom to not be making any money in order to be paying the people up at the top. I think, in my opinion, that's a big old scam. Okay, that's a pyramid scheme if I ever heard one. And guess what? The FTC agrees with me. They say if the focus is on recruitment and not just selling the products, if it's on building that team aspect of it, then guess what? Well, you might have a pyramid scheme on your hands. In my opinion. If you don't believe me, look at the FTC link down below. Doesn't matter if you're selling a product, if you're not, a service, doesn't matter. It still can be considered a pyramid scheme if the focus is on that recruitment. Today, we are going to be featuring another Monat girly. Whoa! Monat and Nueva are like my little bread and butter over here. I'm so excited to cover Bec Pfeiffer again. She is my top watched video, and that is for good reason. She was interesting, if I do say so myself. The last video we watched, she sat there after a Monat's like little team event, and she went on and on about how this is the Lord's opportunity, yada, yada, yada. It was a great examination into the faith manipulation tactics that are used by these reps. Well, I popped over to her page where she has 42.8 thousand followers, and I just wanted to see, does she have any new lives up? Well, lucky us, she does. And it says the following: you won't get this strategy or this training anywhere else. It's a specific fast track to earning built on a mathematical equation to earn your investment back by helping your first two people. And then everything after that leads you to massive growth, expansion, and duplication. Teach others to win with you in your business. Want to earn but don't know where to start? We're literally giving you the roadmap, a fast track roadmap to earning quickly, building sustainably. It started today, but continues through January. Want in? Send us a DM fast track and we'll get you immediately set up for success. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, Kayla, why are you going so hard on these Monat girlies? I will tell you why. This is their income disclosure statement. You have to be in the 0.26%, not even the top 1%, 0.26% before you make the same as a fast food worker in California. That, to me, is something that needs to be very transparent and very clear when they're recruiting these people. And guess what? It's not. Often it is, you can do this, we can grow fast, do it with me, just like she just said. And it's the exact opposite. When it comes down to you posting your Monat stuff, when it comes down to actually putting out those curiosity posts, guess who's curious? Not a single soul, because there's huge market saturation. There's enough people who have heard about it. There's enough people who are wary of MLMs, and there's so many reps inside the company already. And ultimately, once again, the business structure can only survive if there are recruits coming in and there's a large bottom in order to feed the top. So I personally like to be blunt, clear, and transparent when it comes to this stuff. I'm a little sassy, okay? But ultimately, we're all God's children, right? We're all doing the best we can. But the more consumer awareness that is out there about this information not only protects the 99%, but hopefully will show this 1% that the money is not worth it. There's a million things. Oftentimes, these people are incredibly talented. They can do so much with everything that they already have, instead of selling something with a 95% of its participants making $19 a year. That doesn't even cover the cost of one shampoo, let alone conditioner. And babies need the conditioner too, okay? So let's get started on this bad boy.
Hello. You're gonna hear my pug snoring, who's also in my hat. And I'm gonna wait for my friend Haley to hop on. But we just hopped off of a exclusive training that I am doing for the month of January. And my girl Haley is already starting to implement it on her team as well. You're not going to see this anywhere else, okay? This is an exclusive mathematical strategy that I've been using on our team that is working. It is giving you a fast track to earn, and we are going to chat about why you guys want to hop on board now. So let me...
It's always so awkward when they bring people onto the Instagram. There's that moment of like no noise and whatever. Now, I am going to be very, very cynical here. Number one, I discussed in one of my last videos that I love me some math. I was in advanced placement calculus when I was in high school. Okay, I love me some math. Not only that, but I've worked in accounting. I have small business experience. I have lots of experience that leads me to be a good reactor to this video. So let's see what maths she throws at us and see what we can discover within that. Ooh.
Let's see if this works. Where'd she go? There she is.
Hi, good morning.
I love that you're a hell yes kind of gal. Like, you want to go live? You're like, hell yeah, let's go.
Oh yeah, let's do it. This is like a weird day. I feel like there's I don't know, whatever. Let's go.
Weird good?
No, weird good. Just
Okay.
like, not a lot of things going on, which is like, what do I even do with my time right now?
Well, I'll feel a little bit of it here.
I love it.
I gotta like capitalize on moments where I'm like focused here. I've been really good with balancing my time on my phone, which is not normally my forte, but it's an intention I'm making in this new year. And that's kind of like this training. Like, as I've been pondering, thanks Sonia. She said, I know.
That is really good to hear. I'm not super invested in what Bec Pfeiffer does on her spare time, but I do think for MLM girlies in particular, it is frequent that we see them glued to their phones. They're replying to people, making curiosity posts, having conversations, etc. Nowadays, we're understanding better and better the large implications that has on our mental health for a myriad of different reasons, but one of the biggest things that I've noticed and seen for myself is the dopamine release, is that artificial dopamine release being done at an inconsistent rate. And that's most of the time what happens when you're consuming content, not when you're creating content. So this year I'm wanting to create more content, which is why 2 days in a row I'm filming. This is the third video I've filmed in 24 hours. I don't think I've ever been able to say that before because I'm a lazy content creator. Sorry. But if you like this kind of content, please feel free to subscribe. I would love to have you here. We love everyone here. And when I say that, I really mean it, because whether you're an MLM girly or not, if you have questions, if you have concerns, hit me up. As long as they're genuine and they're coming from a place of like real curiosity and real wanting to know and real just like, hey, can you understand me? Can I understand you? That kind place, I'm all for it. And I would love if any one of these people wanted to reach out. I do want to be honest, I did have one of the persons that I created the content on reach out to me, but the way that it was kind of given to me, and that comment should still be there on that video, but it was definitely seen. They were like, you want to do a live? And I was like, oh, are you trying to like battle me or something? Like, that's not, I said what I needed to say, Buki, unless you, like, once again, it's coming from a place of heart and concern and whatever, then whatevs, I don't care. Bye.
Get over my hair in the last couple months. It's like bonkers.
It's transformed.
It's actually bonkers. If you
Even
don't
since
use,
I've seen you.
since I've seen me, if you don't use Bondi Q serum, and this is like day 3 hair that's been up in a bun. So I like literally just took it out and slapped on a hat for this. But anyways, sidebar. So my objection in this business, but specifically moving into 2026, is people are wanting to get more intentional with their time. They want focus. Like, you can mindlessly scroll on this app. You can throw darts at the wall, like trying to figure out what's going to stick. And there's so many opportunities to make money online. There's so many things, and you're hearing like social media is like this echo chamber of make money here and do this. This is literally a fast track that I haven't heard another leader do. I haven't seen another team do. I haven't heard anyone kind of taking this roadmap. And I was like, we're going to break this down really simply. This is an exclusive training you're only going to get on our teams here. But we're going to break down for you really simply. Like, if you're wanting to try these products, this opportunity is a no-brainer. If you're wanting to try these products and you want to earn extra income in 2026, what this training is it's an exclusive roadmap for you to earn. You can earn your investment back like right away. First day.
You can earn your investment back right away. We can see in the 2024 Monat's income disclosure statement, not to sound like a broken record, we can see that 95%, it's like 94.27 or something like that, has a median annual income of $19. Now, just for curiosity's sake, I wanted to see how much is just like a simplistic shampoo. I'm using the example of Renew shampoo. I'll bring it up here. Renew shampoo. VIP, it's $42 before tax. That means that although the $19 is technically before taxes are taken out, so you're making less, this product, when taxes are added, is more than double 95% of the participants in Monat make. So her saying that, oh yeah, you can make your investment back is hogwash, in my opinion. It's absolutely incorrect, and it's disrespectful in an income claim to be saying that, to be honest, because you are not properly disclosing to all of the people who are investing their hard-earned money into your business opportunity. You're not being transparent with them. I'm very interested to see if she puts out an income, find our, income not typical, please find our information on the income disclosure, blah, blah, blah. If she does that, props to her. If she doesn't, I got a bone to pick, if you haven't noticed.
First hour. I earned my investment back literally in the first hour. Why is this different? It's by only helping 2 people. And I think Haley's a rock star. She's literally bringing in the most amazing team. It's like the most fun thing on the planet to be a part of. But, people who are like, who will buy from me? Like, how will this look? Like, I know you have an audience of people who previously, were totally skeptical of money.
Anti. Not even skeptical.
Or anti.
Haters. Haters.
If you truly hate MLMs, you understand on a business structure level the harm that it does to a majority of its participants, you would not, no matter how much you are promised, $1 million, $3 million, it doesn't matter. You would not say yes. So claiming that anyone is anti-MLM, I think they're just using that as a hot word per se to say, don't listen to the anti-MLMs because look, they're now on my side. When I would say with a lot of confidence that anti-MLM people would never join in multi-level marketing unless for some reason they were like kind of kerfuffled and like had no idea. They were like blindsided and was like, wait, hold on, this is an MLM? I had no idea. Like, get me out of this fast kind of thing. But aside from that kind of scenario, they would not be like, you know what, at one point I was a hater, but now I see. Why I can pretty much guarantee that, because Monat, their own income disclosure statement. This is not some other companies. This is not just the FTC. This is Monat's information coming out directly saying that 95% of our participants, if you had a group of 100 of your friends and family, first off, you're an awesome friend and family member because there's no way 100 people want to be my friend and family. I'm like the worst texter backer. But if you told 95 of those people in that room, I'm going to convince you to spend a bunch of money on something, your $99 starter kit, whatever, minimum, that's their minimum starter kit, and then say, but you're not going to get any money back from this, would they join? Questions, preguntas. Let's just be honest.
Your story. Tell briefly, I know so many people know your story, but we haven't come
Was she living in a basement?
Tell your story.
Yeah, so I am a hairstylist. If you don't know, I specialize in hair extensions, and I was the biggest Monat hater. I used to make content around how awful Monat was. And I came across Bec, in 2020, and I became like a low-key obsessed with her. So I just was like a silent stalker. And then we connected, I don't know, in 2024, I think it would have been. And she found me and
Hey Girl DM.
She sent me the Hey Girl DM. But listen, I like loved her so much. She had built so much trust with me over the years that I would have talked to her about whatever she wanted to talk about, because I just was like,
okay, 2 things right off the bat. These nails are giving claw energy, and the juxtaposition, like when you have like your nails all done and then you're just like lounging around, it always like cracks me up because like I don't typically have my nails done, but I do like to do nails. In fact, most of the time I spend my time doing nails for my niece and my daughter. And I love to do nail art. I'll put up a couple pictures here if you're interested to see some of my favorite things that I like to do. Regardless, though, it is just so funny seeing those claws. Now, secondly, when it comes to hairstylists, yes, oftentimes there's going to be, I'm not a hairstylist, okay? Vicky don't be know nothing. When it comes to an occupation like that, anything like with cosmetology, etc., you have your favorite brands, you don't like certain brands, you've heard horror stories, you like form your own opinion. But when it's positioned to you as this could be something you could sell while you're working and essentially make double, who knows, make additional while you're cutting hair, I could see how she could potentially label herself as a hater, even though she's not anti-MLM. It's not the business structure itself, even though they'll be like, isn't this like a pyramid scheme? And I thought that too. And no, they truly don't understand the concept of a pyramid scheme and how detrimental it is to literally thousands and thousands and thousands of people, taking thousands and thousands of dollars from them and doing so much more. It is not just the money, right? Money is a huge thing, obviously, because that's how they're positioning it. It's a business opportunity. But money is a small fraction, because when you get really ingrained in these communities, as they like to say, oh, they are messing with your mental health, your body image, you're questioning your faith, which is something that I like to talk about on this channel because of the faith manipulation used, as well as so many other things. There have been countless stories, horror stories, etc., where you've lost friendships, you have lost marriages have dissolved completely because of what MLMs do and create in this little echo chamber that they have, where they're like, this company is the best. And ultimately, if you're feeling like it's your own business and you have this community, I can definitely see how you would get caught up in that and really be excited for it. And even many anti-MLM creators who were involved are like, listen, those team events were so fun. Like, some of the girlies were so fun, but are they still fun, and are they still there for you when you walk away? That's a really good question to ask.
Like, we would be friends in real life if we ever met. And she was like, let me send you products. I'm like, no, thanks. Like, no. But I still was just entertaining the conversation because I loved her. And then I finally caved. She was like, just send me the products. If you hate them, you can say you hate them, but at least you'll have tried them, because I'd never even used them. And so she
never even used them, but publicly bashed them.
Like, eating my words. So embarrassing. So she sends me product. I fall in love with them very quickly. And I was like, dang it. And then she's like, okay, cool. Like, so now you can sell them. And I was like, yeah, no thanks. I'll just be silently using them. I used them for 9 months. I didn't tell anyone. And then she one day was like, put a photo of your hair from where you started to where you are now, like side by side. Because I was like, I mean, it's like good. I like it. But I hadn't felt like I'd really seen a huge difference.
You see
Seeing
yourself
the photo, yeah, seeing those photos side by side, I was like, this is insane. Like, this is actually crazy how big of a difference. I got into hair extensions because my hair wouldn't grow.
So 2 things I have to say about this. Number 1, Julie Anderson does a great job of explaining this in all of her videos because she was a part of Monat. And she says, and I'm going to use her verbiage to the best of my ability, is that I understand you love the product. It's not about the product. It's not about how wonderful it is. But ultimately, it's about the fact that the failure rate is so incredibly high, and it's detrimental to a majority of people, especially when there's a deception put in there that it is a good opportunity, that you are going to succeed.
So it was always stuck like mid-chest. And, it might grow longer. One side would grow longer. I'd have to cut the other side up to even it out.
The other thing when it comes to the products with these companies is that there is an element of, if the product can speak for itself, why isn't it, and it's that good, why isn't it on the shelves of traditional retailers? Why are you using this model? Because most of the time, they're not just purchasing the products. They're purchasing starter packs. They're purchasing so they can be a product of the product. They're not just purchasing like a normal consumer would purchase products. And this is done on purpose, very specifically. Why? Because Monat wants your money. Monat wants to boop, 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 stay in business, and they want your money. So whenever they say the product's so great, and I'm like, awesome, then make it a product that you can put on the shelves. Make it a product where it speaks for itself. Make it a product where there's affiliate links and things, but it's not requiring that you have a downline, that you recruit people to recruit people to recruit people. That's where my issue lies, among many others.
Out. I felt like it would never get as long as I wanted it to, and I finally had long hair. Like I don't wear extensions anymore. It's still my business, it's still my career, but it's been really crazy. Like, I finally have the hair that I've been paying thousands of dollars to have over, 8 years. And so yeah, that's kind of my story. So,
and now the business that she was reluctant to do the product. It's been kind of a spiritual walk we've been on for the last year and a half of just kind of breaking through our own programs and our stigmas. And it's actually my favorite thing on the planet to do. So it's been fun. And I literally just let go of any attachment to what was Haley going to do with this. This is her thing to do her way. But I was really enjoying just walking through with her what it looked like to have self-limitations, not only around, like, Haley and I both, we don't really have self-limitations on our worth or our ability to do things. We kind of tease with each other that, like, I kind of tease with Haley, like, I'm so grateful to have her as a friend because I have that personality. Like, I remember when Haley joined, I was like, you're so amazing. Like, you're going to kill it. And she's like, I know. Like, I love this because I am kind of this way, right? Like, I don't need those words of affirmation personally just because I'm a pretty confident person, right? And not in a arrogant way, just like I know who God created me as to be in his image, and I am just like I know what I'm capable of, right? Anyway, so she's the same, and she, like, right away I knew that she was going to.
We love a confident queen. We love someone who knows their worth. And we love a girl who knows that she's good at stuff. Like, I love that for them. Using that to scam ladies, though. I'm no lackey. No lackey. That's a pyramid scheme if I ever heard one.
Kill it. But her limitations were more on, like, what were people going to think as far as her reputation? And as people who we don't think we care what people think of us.
Yeah, I did not think... that shocked me, how much I cared about my professional reputation, which makes a lot of sense. Like, I've worked really hard to build a reputation, the reputation that I feel like I have a pretty positive one overall. And I was afraid that money was going to shatter that, to be honest with you. As a stylist, as, someone who has used social media as a tool for my business for the last 8 years, like, I didn't want me using money to ruin that. And what was interesting was that I feel like the opposite actually happened, and you told me that, but I kept telling back, like, I don't want the business. In my mind, I was like, I will just link products as I would link anything else. I'll be able to share them with my clients, friends, family, and I'll just make a small commission. That was kind of my goal with it. And even the money started coming in, and it was like, it was cool. I was excited about it, but it was, a couple $100 here, couple $100 there, and then it started, like, it turned into a couple thousand relatively quickly, and I was like, oh, I can pay, like, one of my mortgages with this. Like, that's pretty cool. So
a couple different things. Once again, I tried my very best to not, like, pause it every 2 seconds. But what that does do is it makes it where sometimes I'm not, like, actively listening to some of the things that they're saying. So I have to work really hard to remember what I wanted to talk about, and also be very present in the conversation so I can kind of add stuff onto the list. So Haley is an influencer. She's also a public figure. That is what I cover here. Public figures, not private citizens keeping their business small, or even just starting out, or, even if they've been doing it for years. If they're a private citizen and not displaying themselves as a public figure, some of the things I look at is is obviously the profile on public. How many followers do they have? If they're starting to get into that 10,000 plus range, that's when I'm going, okay. And then one of the two biggest things here is that they have the check mark. They have verified their page saying that, yes, I am who I say I am, so that other people know that I am who I say I am. In addition to the actual content that they put out, is the content trying to garner attention and trying to influence people? If it's trying to do that, they're considered a public figure, in my opinion. If that's correct based off of whatever definition, I have no idea, but that's what I personally go off of. But she also said, and I don't know if you just heard it, which good thing I remember because I almost didn't and push play again, is that she used that to she said, this can almost pay for one of my mortgages. No, we love that for her. Okay, we love that for her. There's nothing wrong with being well off. Love that for you. Okay. However, to have one house, which I don't know her age, but I'm guessing she's in her 30s or maybe late 20s because she's a very beautiful woman. I always want to say that. These women are stunning, beautiful, charismatic. They're probably amazing friends and family members to have. It's the scamming that I got an issue with. It's the manipulation that they start using, whether they know it or not, that is not okay to me. Now, it is incredible to have one mortgage in today's day and age, right? Let alone multiple. And one of the things we talk about that leads to success, that definitely helps give them more of an influence and make more of an impact on whether or not they are successful or not, is, are they pretty? Are they wealthy? Are they charismatic? Do they have good business savvy? Things of that nature. And the business savvy is pretty minimal in this because there's a lot of luck and have they been in it a long time that has to do with it. But she's checkmarked, she's verified, she's a public figure, and she is, admittedly, sounds like she is wealthy. I would consider anyone with a home wealthy because, I mean, you have a roof over your head that you are working on paying towards the equity. That is huge in my opinion. But when you have multiple, we're getting into that wealthy category, okay? And that's great. Love that for her. But important information to keep in mind when they're representing, oh, it's as easy as me, I could do it, versus someone who maybe doesn't have that privilege and that, money to fall back on or that public influence, etc.
I was like, I want to kind of see where this can go, but it took me a long time to get there. And I went to Monations in August, which was in Las Vegas. It's like their big convention, you could say, conference, whatever.
Which you were not gonna go, but you earned it free because you just were kind of cranking immediately. And I was like, Haley, this is rare. Most people are paying for this. Like, you earned it. And it was like, I want to say like 2 weeks before you were like,
it
okay,
was 2 weeks before. And I was hesitant because it was over my birthday. So I was like, I'm going to be going to this thing that I don't really want to go to over my birthday. My husband couldn't go. And I was like, I'm going to be hanging out with, obviously I love Bec, but I'm like, people that I don't know in real life, I'm spending my birthday alone with them. So I really didn't want to go. And I ended up going, and the thing that going to that event, what it did for me, it was really cool to see there are so many women who are they're doing so well in this business. And I think as a business owner, right, we're in business to be profitable, to make money. Like, that's the entire objective of owning a business. And so then I'm watching these women who are...
The funny part is, though, is that we actually have no idea their success rate. We have no idea their personal finances. We have no idea any of that. Just going based off of what Monat wants to tell you, it's Monations. They're going to say that people are successful because the entire premise of their business model is to get people to join so that they can be successful too. So of course, they're going to try and say everyone's successful and successful when they really hype a person up, making them seem like extra super special. Monat wants your money. But guess what? You don't know. You have no clue. And when we're transparent and we're honest about that and we really start evaluating it without this, rose-colored glasses on, then we go, ooh, But I don't know your finances. I don't know how successful you are. I didn't see your tax returns last year. I didn't see your income to debt ratio. I didn't see how much your spouse made. I didn't see any of that. There are elements like getting in early and luck that make it so that people are just going to have an easier time because everyone's following under them in the downline. That's a pyramid scheme if I ever heard one. That's just how it is when you get in early and the MLM ends up being successful. No, wait, don't try to use that, okay? Just because someone's getting in early doesn't mean they're going to be successful, because y'all might fail, and I hope you do. Sorry, no sorry.
On stage, making hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars, and I'm like, they're not even hairstylists. Not in like a derogatory way towards what they were doing. Like, I respected it so much because I'm like, if they can build what they have built, if they can make hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars, and they don't have a background in hair, why can't I do that? That like blew my mind, but it just showed me that it was possible. And I told Beck, coming back from that, it was the end of August, I was like, okay, I'm giving it a year. I'm giving this like a real go. I want to see what I can do with this. And honestly, it's been taking off ever since.
I think the thing that I take from your walking this with you, that I take with me in mentoring other people through this business. I remember saying to you so much in the beginning, and I say it to everyone, but it was kind of heightened with you because you've had more resistance than almost anyone who's ever joined me, maybe anyone who's ever joined me. And I respected that though, right? Like, because I saw you growing through that in so many ways. Yeah. So I was like, we have to take this as it goes. There's no rushing this process. But here's what I find, and I've heard you train now your team to this, is that you can have that resistance all day long, but if you don't at least show up and take a step, take a action, you will not learn. You won't know what's on the other side of it until you take the step. And what I would tell Haley all the time as she was getting so in her head about what was going to come from this, like, what was this going to mean for her? What if I don't want to do this all the time? And I've already put it out there, and like, I don't want to commit myself. And and I was like, I would say to her, like, Haley, just one step at a time. Like, just take it one day at a time. And you would be like, I can do that. I can do that. That's tangible for me.
I'm thinking that why she was so concerned and why she had so much pushback is because she already had established herself as an influencer with a public image, and she was, nervous to associate with, and almost every single creator is very careful with what they select. Does it align with their personal brand? And, she's going, does this align with my personal brand? I hear, people speaking poorly, or I hear that they had lawsuits about hair loss. Like, there's all kinds of things. Like, what if that happens to one of my clients, etc. So I'm getting the vibe that she had all that reservation and she was very picky about it because she already was extremely successful. Who knows? We'll click on her information afterwards, and I'm sure I'll post. I like to put little wording in there if I ever get stuff wrong and find it out after the fact in editing, or just have a little fun fact in there. And I try to pop in one of my little annoying little voices so one's on the screen. Anywho, let's continue.
And I think hairstylists specifically, they have the most reluctance. Hairstylists and influencers have the most, and I was an influencer for so long, so I get that side too. It's so different than what we've done. And influencers have the same, ego, right? Like,
yes, it's an ego thing.
It's an ego thing.
An ego thing.
That's what I'm talking about.
And I think I've done so much work over the last 5-6 years has been my main like personal thing I've been working through is ego. Letting myself feel through that every time. So there's a balance, right? Especially when you are confident, and then those feelings creep in, and you're like, I thought I didn't care what people think, and this, that, and the other. So it's such a gift.
There's a difference between like caring what people think and then being concerned about your brand image. Like, those are two very different things if you ask me. So they're saying like, oh, it's just like a mindset. You're caring about what people think, because that applies and is most applicable to the average person that they are talking to, right? And most people are not influencers. They don't have large followings like that. But if she put it in the correct verbiage, in my opinion, of saying, does this align with your brand, your personal brand image, doing an evaluation of will this, be helpful or harmful to, what your future goals are in terms of associating with a brand that has some controversy behind it. I think a lot of controversy, but we'll just say for their sake, a little bit of controversy. That looks a lot different and is a different kind of decision making than it's ego and it's mindset, right? These are just different ways of wording things in which they're trying to relate to most people.
Such a gift, because aside from the money and all the things, there's so much spiritual growth and, emotional growth.
And I think what I've learned too, and you helped me see this, and I had been seeing it over and over in other ways in my life, but this just was amplifying it. Every time I have had like a leaps and bounds growth period in my life, it has always come as a result of doing something I didn't want to do or something I had resistance around. Yeah. And I think what is interesting about that most people avoid, I say like most people after have been that person, where I would just avoid things I didn't want to do. Like, I'm like, no, that sounds terrible. I'm not doing that. No, because it sounds hard. It's going to make me uncomfortable. I'm afraid what people are going to say about me, think about me, whatever my excuse was. And that's all that.
I made a very tough decision on something that I wasn't sure about, something that I wasn't comfortable about. And I opted to apply for a promotion for an entirely different occupation. So I went from being an administrator working in finance to being a director, being more on the field. And that was probably one of the worst decisions I ever made. And yes, I got obviously more money from it. But it was, I lost my job within a year because obviously my drinking got out of control. But in addition to that, it was so uncomfortable for me. It was such a hard thing to deal with. And of course, I'm in a unique situation because I am an alcoholic, but there are things such as stress levels and being aware of that what your body can take. So just always saying, do things that are uncomfortable, that always is a red flag to me because your body's saying something is uncomfortable for a reason. Thankfully, I have had some amazing therapy to really discover what happened in that scenario and what was affecting me the most of that job. And thankfully, it wasn't per se like my capacity. It was more about like what I was witnessing because I was helping underserved communities. And in those situations, I was really struggling with some of the stuff that I saw and experienced and witnessed very firsthand. Whereas before, I was instead, I had shared that I was a grant administrator. So I was helping to get funds for these communities. And then once I switched over to being more active and present in those communities, it was a really difficult thing for me to witness firsthand some of the stuff that happens. And I'm just not cut up for that. I'm cut out to be a behind the computer, behind the screen kind of girly. As much as I want to be very hands-on, it's just not like my internal stress levels just can't hang. Anyway, all that to say, that's my own personal experience, but just because something is uncomfortable doesn't mean it's going to help us grow, doesn't mean that, and it's obviously different for every single scenario, but they like to paint it in this blanket statement, and I'm giving my own personal example to show specifically that that's not always the case. If we're honest about all of these things, it paints a better picture for people to make more educated decisions and to not be so brainwashed by the junk that they put out there. I almost thought the other day about filming like on the couch because my dogs will like sit with me and lay with me while I'm on the couch just so that they could be in the screen more because most of the time they're lazy paisy. But I just walked to get my Pepsi, and our senior girly, our senior queen, Willow, they're both huskies, but she is just like a little grumpy pants. Like she doesn't want our like younger dog who's only 3, and he's much larger and he's much more, energetic. She doesn't usually want to be cuddling. She's not like a cuddle dog, okay? She's like I'm going to put a finger on you, but like that's it. That's like the amount of like physical touch I want, which is totally me vibes. Anywho, they're butt to butt right now, and it is the cutest thing I've ever seen, especially because it's all foggy outside. It's just giving warm and cozy vibes, and I love it as I sit here with an ice cold Pepsi. Let's continue the Monat nonsense.
They were excuses. So I would just avoid it. Well, growth is on the other side of that fear, of that resistance, and there's no way around it. It's only through it. And Monat brought that so, like, it really held a mirror in front of me for me to see, like, what are my resistances? What am I afraid of? And am I going to let that fear, that discomfort control what I'm doing? Because that's, at the end of the day, that's what I was doing. And we grew up, my dad still says this to this day, what you fear controls you.
Totally.
And
Totally.
so it like hit me like a brick wall. And I was like, if I'm going to continue to let, you know, these little things, like, it would be to the point where I'm like, okay, I know I'm going to make a post about Instagram. This is so small, but it's like, I'm going to make an Instagram post about money. And then I write it all up and it's ready to go. And I'm like, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't say it. Maybe I've done like a story series talking. And I was like, no, like, stop. You're posting it anyways. Put your phone down, walk away from it, whatever you need to do. The response was always significantly better than I thought it was going to be.
Always.
Always. But it was.
Yeah, there's always like a natural fear when you put yourself out there, right? Like, that's just the case when you're vulnerable or when you try something new or different. Like, of course, that's going to be the case. But once again, we have fear as being like this awful thing. And yes, there is an element, especially when you're talking about biblically, to lean into God, to trust God, to know that He will make things right. When we talk about fear in that sense, that is totally different, in my opinion, other than the natural fear that God gave us to have discernment, to make appropriate decisions, to go, ooh, this is a danger, versus like fears that don't make sense. Fears that, for example, God won't provide or God won't be there when you need Him the most. It's that ultimate trust and that complete faith in the Lord that really creates that, you know, not having that fear when they're talking about it biblically. Once again, this is all my own opinion. I'm not a preacher. I have not studied. People go to school for this. Did you know that? People go to school. I think that's the coolest thing, but also interesting. Very interesting. I want to say, too, Bethany has gone to school with some religious background. She also creates anti-MLM content. And then Julie Joe, she also went to school for, I want to say it was Christianity, if I'm not mistaken. But anywho, with that being said, then you have the fear of like, should I walk out in the middle of the road with a ton of traffic going? Probably not. Probably not. Should I join a business opportunity that has 99.75% of people in will make less than a McDonald's worker in California? Yeah, I would be scared of that. You know what I mean? Should I put out content about a product that is extremely controversial and how will that affect my personal branding? That is a valid fear to have. So hopefully they don't turn this. I turned it more religious than they did, but hopefully it doesn't go there. But we hear that fear kind of word thrown out there all the time, whether it's religious or not. And, you know, fear is healthy. Fear is, and it's a natural thing. There's some fear that's not healthy, but there's some fear that is.
It's just the thing, and it wasn't even about the hair products. It's not even about the money. It's not about the business. It's about the growth that I have had personally through all of this journey too. Like
when do we get into the math?
I'm a completely different person than I was.
Sorry.
I would say even in August. Just because of how this has challenged me and the mirror that this has held up for me with things that I've needed to face, but I don't know that I would have faced them otherwise.
And sometimes it's, well, first of all, I'll never forget the first time you did that. And I remember you go, I didn't know Sadie at the time, you know, now obviously Sadie's on our team, but I remember you were like, I just tend to text to my sister. Okay, you were building up, we've been building up to this for a long time when you were going to rip the Band-Aid, and you're like, okay, you sent me a voice note and you were like, I just posted it. I told my sister to keep an eye on it. I'm going for a walk. You won't hear from me for a while. I'm not even bringing my phone. Like, I can't know what people are going to say. I just got to go.
Yeah.
And I remember you came back and you were like, Bec, this isn't bad. I'm getting like really.
They're like being really nice to me.
You're like, they like me. They really like me.
I was shocked. You guys,
And
I
the amount of
literally,
people messaging you like, I actually closet love the products. You're like,
yes.
what?
Yes, yes. It was someone that I like respected and know so much. She was actually so encouraging to me. She's like, I've been secretly using them too. And I was just like, thank you. Like, that makes me feel less crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah, it was so stressful. I was literally afraid of getting canceled. Like, I
Yeah.
thought everything I had built was gonna,
That just goes to show how controversial the product was. Would you be like that concerned of getting canceled if you did like a normal like brand? I don't think when, Hannah Alonso does her Bombas ad, she's like worried about, oh my gosh, these socks giving back to people in need when they need socks. Like, you think she's really that worried? Like, once again, just goes to show, Monat is controversial for a multitude of different reasons. At one point, I want to say they had over 250,000 market partners in the U.S. alone. That is 250,000 people that were impacted by Monat based off their own income disclosure statement. Hold on, let me tell you, because I love pulling out my little calculator. That means that only 1 in every 4,000 people who joined Monat made as much as a McDonald's worker in California. Let that sink in. 4,000 people! Just spending money on the company, getting their starter kit, bringing a product to the product, joining all these calls, taking all their time, their energy, their effort. I have no doubt that a majority of people who participate in MLMs, at 99%, are putting in work. Yes, I'm sure some of them are like, I only joined for the discount, whatever. I'm sure that there's tons of those people too. But those who are actually trying to, make it this impactful thing for their company are putting in work. And with a failure rate that's that poopy, no thank you, ma'am. No thank you. But once again, she is just making this huge deal, and it wouldn't be that big of a deal if she was once again doing a little ad for, Bombas or something like that,
get canceled on that day, which is nuts. Like, when
Crazy.
you think about this, when you
Crazy.
think of how delusional that is, yeah. And Sonia saw it, and she's like, hey, sign me up. And I was like, wait, what?
It's crazy. The more I talked to Sonia, I had no idea how long she was watching this business
Yeah.
and thinking of jumping in, but it took the right person, the right team, the right posture for her to be like, this is where I want to join. And that goes to show, like, you never know who's watching you and inspired by the other side of like what you're sharing. And that's why, so I was going to say, like, sometimes it's like fear, sometimes it's actually just avoidance. So for me, it's been avoidance. So for me, it was like, for instance, just being live right here, right now. I would avoid going live like the plague. And Ivy, who I joined in this business, would say to me, until you get over that, you're not going to get to the next level. And I, as an influencer, was like, and I don't know that it was ego. It was more, I just didn't understand it. Like, going live, but this is how, like, people need to know what it looks like and the things we went through, right? And when we could have these candid conversations with each other, and when we're together, and when we're on the phone, but like, if I had heard real people having this conversation, maybe I would have viewed the business differently, because I don't know, anyways. But for me, it was like, why am I going to have a conversation on my Instagram live with someone who's, it just like didn't, and Ivy kept being like, have you gone live with them? Have you gone live with them? Have you gone live with them?
Ivy. Is Rebecca Pfeiffer under Ivy Carnegie's downline? Is she in her downline? Interesting. When I had spoken with an MLM Unmasked, she had discussed that a lot of their uplines are the same. That's how it works in pyramid schemes, is that your top of the top is very small, and so your uplines are usually all very similar. I'm interested to know if Bec falls under her, and it wouldn't surprise me because she's Monat girly, she's in US, and obviously there is a Christian aspect of it. But when are we going to get to these numbers? I was excited about these numbers. I was ready to learn. Learn.
And she would be like, okay, don't come back to me again until you've gone live with them. And it wasn't a fear. It wasn't, I don't even know how to put my finger on it, but it was like, it just felt useless. It felt weird. I was like, that's so weird. So I would avoid it. And what happened was, I would go live with people, and I I'm not a content person. We've talked about this. I don't like I've been in content creation, influencer, whatever you want to call it, for 15, almost 16 years, but I don't like it. I actually, and especially now, I hate curating things. Like, I want to connect with real people. I've never said this out loud. I didn't
say it.
I am thinking about starting a podcast because I know, I actually was going to talk to you about this in California, but I hate curated content. I like conversations. I want you to feel what I'm feeling. I want to feel what you're feeling. I want real connection. So curating things feels so inorganic to me. Whereas a live conversation where I'm just talking about our actual experiences, like exactly what it looks like here, I can show up this way because there's nothing inauthentic about it. Like, we're literally just talking like we would talk on the phone. So
Listen, I know that everyone likes their own cup of tea. The fact that I have watched anti-MLM content for so long just goes to show that I enjoy the content. The longer, the better. The more you're covering, the better. I don't care if it's a deep dive, a reaction, like anything, I will watch it. Because of the fact, to be honest, it is fascinating that these things still exist. There's so much proof and evidence out there that these are not okay. And the fact that not only do, they still exist, that people are still joining them, but the fact that they're not being held accountable more is just mind-blowing to me. Now that I'm creating content, I watch a lot less of anti-MLM, only because I want to make sure that I'm sharing my unique point of view and my unique thought process. And it's really easy when you're watching other people to just naturally, have their same points get, pop into your brain, etc. And I really want to come at it from a very personal perspective. But let's be honest about these lives. And why was Ivy pushing it so much? Because it is a tactic. It's a sales tactic. In order for them to talk with their downline, we've seen many, many people do it where they're talking with their downline. And not only is it giving their downline like this little, oh my gosh, because there's this imbalance, right, of, influencer to downline. But you also have the keeping people in, the showing other people that they too, can be on this call with this person. They too can be chit-chatting with their favorite influencer. They too could potentially be making money, and these ladies are just having the chit-chat. The problem that I have is that this is, in my opinion, very fake. She's claiming that it's super real and she's being so genuine and she's being so honest. It's like she's coming out with her real personality. Most people these days do. Like, it is super rare where you see, and people can clock it like real fast. They can be like, this person's hecka fake. Well, I can clock all of these MLM top reps when they use these manipulation tactics. It's disgusting to me, to be honest, because you are hurting thousands of women. And I'm not okay with it, and men too, of course, but a majority of women. And a lot of times they're picking on the vulnerable. They're picking on the single mom. They're picking on someone with health problems that can't work a typical 9 to 5. They're picking on military spouses who maybe don't have a community near them and want that community that's close by and can't find a job in the blink of a hat that's near base, etc. There's just so many facets to this. But what's most important is that they omit tons of important information for the normal consumer to make a well-educated decision on whether or not they want to join. It's all based off of vibes. It's all based off of community. It's all based off of girly pops. But when you're talking about thousands of people losing thousands of dollars, it's not okay to just be having these casual conversations and allowing people to join based off of that. If you are doing sales, you need to be ethical and have integrity behind it. And you need to say, on here somewhere, she needs to say, results not typical, yada, yada, yada. We already had income claims from Miss Haley here saying, at first she made hundreds, then she made thousands. Guess what? Even the hundreds is not typical, Haley. That's not typical. So by you just saying that is an income claim. If the results are not typical, or you are not alluding to the fact that the results aren't typical, that's an income claim.
So even though in my head it felt useless, in my heart when I would do it, I was like, that felt aligned, right?
Yeah.
And so you don't learn that until you stop avoiding it, like whatever that is,
Totally. Well, and I think too with like a live conversation, right? it is the most relatable thing. It's not this like heavily curated. We're over the heavily curated people. Like it's, I don't want to say it's dead, but it's dying. Like it's dying. It's
It's
socials
dead as
moving,
far as I'm concerned.
socials moving away from it. People want like the real, the raw, the ugly. And I think you're going to see a lot more of just people showing up. Like there would have been a time where
The real, the raw, the ugly is Monat's income disclosure statement. Are they going to show that? No. Even if they put a link to it, they're definitely not going to show it. And that's the real, the raw, and the ugly truth of joining Monat in 2026.
where I would have been like, oh no, like let me put some makeup on, let me fix my flyaways, let me, and that's not what people want to see. It's not real life. Like, and
Totally.
especially, and I saw content around this the other day with everything with AI, it's so um like perfect, and
Perfect.
people are,
And not real.
and
Like
not
literally.
real. And now there's this like disconnect, and people have to question everything. Is this real? And it's going to continue getting worse. Like
It's
they're going to
gonna
be
be
able to
so
fake
much
everything.
worse.
So
Yeah.
it's like this is what people want. Um,
And it may,
and
your algorithm may not look like that because our algorithms, like I've actually made reels on this when I said they say there's a reason it's called your feed. It is feeding you what you feed grows, right? So you're feeding your algorithm, like literally, like that's why TV's called programs. But anyways, we'll save that for another day.
yeah,
So
different
you're
conversation.
feeding your algorithm. So if your algorithm is a lot of AI and you're seeing perfectly curated content, but it doesn't, you're feeling triggered by it, like you don't like it, you have to go take another route, right?
Yeah.
So, like, it's so important that we're consciously showing up here, not showing up and consuming here in a way that we want to be part of. And so, for me, like, I'm watching girls get so good at curated content. People who didn't even know how before Monat. It's giving them a platform to learn social media, learn how to connect with people, learn how to work through objections, learn how to build their businesses, learn how to get past their ego. But they're focusing on curated content, which nothing wrong with it. It's amazing. Like it's working for them. For me, it's not what I want to do. I want to figure out if I'm going to be on this space because the truth is before Monat, I was quitting this space. I was done. Um, and I was great with that. But then I found Monat and God told me this is where I'm supposed to be. So I was like, I have to figure out how I'm going to show up in this space where it feels good and aligned and authentic to me, but
Yeah.
also where I can sustain, right?
Yeah.
And I'm still learning what that looks like. I don't know, but I know that God is working through.
She constantly, oh, she's about to say God is working through her. Ooh. She is constantly saying how she hates this job. And it's like, I don't know. I'm like, girl, then don't do it. Don't do it. Throwback to Hello Biddy. She made an amazing comment a million videos ago, it feels like at this point. And I always think about it to this day. If it doesn't feel right, maybe that's God telling you that it isn't right. But it's always funny that she brings this up consistently. And it's tiring, to be honest.
Me, he's using this vehicle that is Monat to like, keep me here and keep me intentional on where I'm going next, with this business and with social media. And I know that this vehicle gives me a platform to serve other people.
Yeah.
And so, kind of full circle to where we started here, this training is a way that it's a strategy that I've been using, individually since I started in this business, but I hadn't really put that out there as a training mechanism. And I've been working with Haley and several girls
Here
on
we
her
go.
team
I'm ready
and,
for it.
like just who have directly joined me. And I'm like, why is this not something that everyone is doing? It's a very,
Yeah.
very fast track to earning. So let's take the person out of the equation who just wants a bigger discount, who just wants to get a $150 voucher. That's fine if you want to do. We have no buying requirements or anything that prohibit you from doing that. But we're kind of talking to a specific person that wants to make money on social media, wants to monetize their time on this screen. This is a fast track, and you're not going to find this training anywhere else. Not only that, but this is going to be a month where you get to go through kind of what Haley and I are talking about. Like, you're not going to be able to learn how to grow here unless you take the first step. You have to be willing to go, okay, like when you join, we're going to give you that first step. We're going to be like, here's what we're going to do first. And then and instead of getting overwhelmed, we're going to go one day at a time.
Yes.
One day at a time. This is what you're going to do right now. This is a literal, like the graphic that, you know, I made for this training is a roadmap with a race car on it because it's a fast track. But it's also a shortcut fast track, if that makes sense. Yeah. We're giving you like an exclusive way to come in and earn your investment back. You can do it the day you join, the hour you join. It's very simple. It's helping 2 people. And then from there, we're going to tell you how to maximize your earnings. We're going to tell you how if you are that person who you're a hard worker, you're willing to show up, you're willing to take it step by step. You have no idea where to start. That's okay, but you're willing to do the work. You're willing to rip the Band-Aid. We're going to give you that fast track to come in and blow it out of the water. So today was that first step. I laid it all out there. Haley and I actually had a call the other day and I had walked her through some of it and she's already utilizing it on her team. You want to speak to that at all before we?
Yeah, well, I want to speak to a couple things because I think one of the things that has helped me in the success that I have had, you did this with me. That I didn't really know this was what you were doing with me. You did a piece of this component with me where you only had me focusing on my next step. Like yes. Some of the questions that I was having, you're like, don't worry about that. Like that's right. Just noise. Like this is your next thing that you need to do if this is the outcome that you want, right?
Don't ask important questions that will help you to decipher if this is a good option for you long term. No. Just think about right now, this very moment.
And so I was like, okay, cool. Like, I'll just see what I can do, like making money. Like, I love the products. I want to help people. But like, you were like, this is what you need for your next bonus. And that was it. That was all I focused on. And then I would get there and then you'd be like, good job. Now this is what you need for the next one. And then I was like, okay, but it gave me like very simple targets to hit. And so I think that played a huge role where you're like, it is a fast track. Like, I think that's part of why you helped me fast track my success. But I also was not paying attention to anything else. I wasn't watching other people's content. I wasn't consuming what other people were doing because I think that comparison game can kill. Like, I still don't pay attention to a lot of what, like, I was just having this conversation with one of my girls the other day. I still don't watch what a lot of the girls who are, like, super crushing it because I'm like, I'll get in my head being like, well, I'm not doing enough, or I should be farther ahead than where I am. Like, whatever that story is. So I'm like, no, like, I stay in my lane. You tell me to do this thing next. That's what I'll do. And then you tell me that my next thing after that, that's what I'll do. It's like blinders on. And I think that really was very helpful for me. It kept
blinders on. I mean, she said it there. And it's honestly true because they are turning a blind eye to the hurt, the exploitation of so many people in their downline. And because of the way that they facilitate a very positive atmosphere where they don't like those questions, they want you to put on the blinders and just keep going. Oftentimes, people don't even feel comfortable to ask those questions. They don't feel comfortable like being honest about their finances and their successes. They're usually just sharing their successes. They're not sharing all of the losses, all of the issues. Because if they did that, they'd be seen as not positive. They'd be seen as, being a Debbie Downer, a hater, whatever, even if they're within that Monat community. Now, I have a feeling that her strategy and training that we won't get anywhere else is that you just need to build on a mathematical equation. You just need to tell everyone to have 2 people join. And theoretically, that could work. But what that also shows is that within only 29 of those downlines, with just 2 people, so only 29 down, the entire population of every country that Monat has, the entire population of every country that Monat offers their products in, would be in a downline somewhere. And remember, that if you did this, if you had those 29 there, right? The 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the 5, what's going to happen to that very person up at the top who got in at the very beginning and convinced the first 2 people? They're at the tippity top. And based off of the structure of a multi-level marketing compensation plan, they will be making a mass majority of the money. And it will result, mathematically speaking, in a vast majority, half pretty much, of the bottom, because we're doing it by an exponential of 2, to be at the very bottom with not a single person in their downline. So already off the bat, you have a 50% of nothing rate. And if you're going to tell someone that they're able to get 2 people to join, and that's it, that's another half that you have that made next to nothing, not including their expenses, their $99 to join, right? Then you have the half before that. Same exact thing. Maybe they made a little extra money, but it's like, what, $200? So you go very quickly if you just go up a few levels for those people knowing that they're not going to be making anything, or they're going to be making so little that they barely make up that $99 starter kit, assuming that they just joined, like she's going to tell you to have them do. And this is assuming that, of course, every single person joins and sticks with it and is able to get 2 people. There are many factors where people drop out or they're not able to get 2 that are going to go into this. There's only 13% of the company making more than a couple $100s. Once again, this is assuming that everyone is successful. Everyone's able to find 2 people, that nobody drops out. And this is also assuming that you can get that many people. When we know, based off of the amount of products that are readily accessible, especially for something that people do on the daily, such as washing their hair and having, hair care products, etc., that there are so many products available that the chances are that someone will like that product, the chances are that someone can afford that product, it's minimal. And so you start to reach a market saturation. There might technically be more people, more of a larger population, but for a number of reasons, you are not going to have enough consumers. You're not going to have people who want to buy it, who can afford it, who like the product, who don't already have a product that they like, who don't need to buy something in a pinch all the time, etc. So with that being said, if she's going to try and say all you need to do is just get 2 people and then encourage the next 2 people to get 2 people, she is painting with her words a pyramid scheme, one in which 87% of the people are just naturally going to be making practically no money and not make their money back, even though she said to join 2 people before there is nobody else to join because the market saturation is so high. I hope that makes sense, and I hope I articulated that well, but it's something so crucial and so important when they try to, it's just so easy, just get 2 people to join, just your sister and your, friend from high school, whatever. But it's not that easy.
Me out of my own head. But yeah, the strategy that you had is with onboarding new people. You had told me that before, but I think I just wasn't in a place to hear it. Not that I was mad about hearing it. It was just that it didn't click for me.
Yeah, totally.
And that's the thing that I've also learned. It's a very repetitive. You've had to tell me the same thing probably 27 times, and then there gets a point where that 27th time it finally clicks, because I'm now in a place to receive it. And I needed to hear it 27 times before that. I just wasn't in a place to implement, maybe. And so I literally implemented it. I had 2 market partners join yesterday, and I implemented it with one of them because the other one I implemented it with one of them, and she's already significantly set up for more success than most of the other people that I've onboarded. And so I'm excited now.
Right there, she just proved our point. Out of the 2 people, one of them, for whatever reason, was unable to do this simplistic tactic of get 2 people. So already 50% failure rate of this, once again, strategy and training we won't get anywhere else based off of a mathematical equation, earn your investment back.
Now to be able to take that into onboarding more stylists, and more people, because like it just, they don't know that I'm setting them up for success in this way.
Exactly.
But
Exactly. Yes.
coming in, they're set up, and then they can hit the ground running and send it, you know?
And I feel like it really aligns because I feel like, we talked about like it's not necessarily the quickest way for you as the person enrolling them to earn or maximizing your earnings right away. But when you set them up for success, you will earn more in the
Yes.
not even the long run, the short run, because you've set them up for success, like you said, without them even knowing it. It's
Yes.
really interesting. I'm really excited to see how this goes. I feel like
Same.
this is going to be
What would be set up for success that someone doesn't even know that they're being set up for success with? Very, very interesting. It does sound like they're doing this kind of privately, where it says DM us fast track. Yeah, I can't determine whether or not that's them saying join us and just like become a brand new market partner, or join us for this special training. Can't quite tell.
really, really game changing. And I don't know why I hadn't done this as like a whole training before, because I was telling people on the back end that I was like, why are we not as a team doing this? So I'm excited to see where it goes. The last I want to say on that, what you just said though, is the reason you are so successful is because every time I would give you that next step, your confidence was always shining through in that, where you'd go, perfect. And you'd be like, you'd go do it and you'd come right back. And even though you didn't know where you wanted to go with this business or, really any part of it, you would just you were like, I'm willing to do that one step at a time. And those steps, they built your confidence in the business.
Well, and then it compounds. Like all of
Wow.
it's a compounding business in every aspect. So like the things that I was doing, 6 months ago have also helped build where I'm at now.
Yeah.
And the things that I'm doing now are going to help where I'm at in another 6 months.
Yeah.
And yeah, but
This
so I
month is
completely
going to
agree.
be insane. Like you're
Yeah.
already to like almost like a six-figure business.
So she likes a yes man. That's what she's saying. She likes a yes man. And that was the same thing that Ivy said, right? When we watched her, is like, you just kept going. The hustle culture was there. You just kept asking, what can I do? And that hustle culture, it would be one thing if you were getting paid hourly for it. Like, hustle your little heart out. Go for it, girly pop. But when we know that a mass majority, are not getting any return on their investment at all. Zero. They can't even afford a shampoo bottle with the commission that they're making to continue to say yes, 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 yes. That is tiring and exhausting, and it's not feasible for a mass majority of people. That's the case. I think we're going to leave it there because they're kind of saying just the same thing over and over and over again at this point. But I just want to thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for joining me today. Remember, this analysis is done with love. We don't bully these people. There's no hate here. It is done with love and concern for the 99%. And it's concern for them of whether or not do they understand that what they're doing is truly hurting people. And I hope that one day that they do see that. And I hope one day that they stopped doing it. And that they find something else that makes them just as successful, if not more, and have, in my opinion, a lot more ethics and integrity behind their business decisions, besides being associated with something that is literally designed for people to fail, that its success requires the failure of a majority of its participants. So thank you so much for joining. You guys have an amazing rest of your day. Bye.